Well, that's what we hear when somebody says, I'm not ready to be married yet. Yeah, we need to go to school. We need to learn some things and break some old mindsets and start new different habits and get you to that point. And once you get your degree, you'll be ready. That's the point of school. And that's the point of coaching, mentoring, teaching, discipling, and all that, is to get a person where they are ready. You know, it's
Jesse and Irina Kaufman, welcome to Empower Network TV. I'm super excited after hearing what you guys are about, and we're going to talk about creating extraordinary, and specifically in marriages and relationships. So not a lot of people talk about marriages these days. So I'm glad you guys are saying that you focus on that, because marriage can be dang sexy, man. If done right, it's one of the sexiest things on the planet. But a lot of people, they, you know, it didn't work for them. They don't know why it didn't work. They, you know, so it's like, hey, a lot of people are detaching from it, going, oh, I just want to be domestic partnerships, or I just want to be dating with no commitment, because there's a lot of fear and ambiguity around how to. Okay, so let's jump into this. First of all, why are you guys teaching this? Why? What passion? What started this fire, this fuel?
It starts with our own story of getting married for the first time in our 40s, after we learned that marriage is a skill. It's a skill set, just like anything else. We're born into this world and we have zero skills. And so that when the disasters happen, when we don't know what we don't know, and what we don't know can and will cause destruction and chaos. And when we take responsibility for that and invest into our education therein and start applying it, which is wisdom applied, you know, that's where we start reaping the benefits of what marriage really was intended and designed to be. And we ask the question, what is marriage? You know, people say, when we say marriage, you're going to get as many different definitions as there are lenses through which people are looking at marriage through the lens of their own experience. And so everyone's going to describe marriage through the lens of their own experience. And that brings a lot of ambiguity to the table that is not necessarily based in truth. It may be true for that person from their perspective, which what we call each individual's truth, you know, which is basically their current truth, their current story, what they believe to be true and what people believe to be true. They then, that their belief influences what they do and their actions and behaviors and habits. And that then creates their environment that confirms their belief. And so we have a self-feeding loop of confirmation on what they have chosen to believe. Our mission is to bring a new truth to the table and walk out by example how it can be done. And we make no apologies for marriage, absolutely none. Whether single or married and wanting to take it to a new level, marriage is the goal. So you can look at it as a triangle with marriage at the top and the two legs of the triangle being single or already married. But marriage is the goal and is the focus. So yeah, and I just fire hosed you. Hopefully, I don't know if that answers the question, but
I was going to say too, is that we both had fears before we got married, and we both had certain beliefs that held us in the singlehood. And when we were able to overcome those things and kind of go right through them and address them, that's when we were able to get married. And you know, we didn't know each other for that long. We became friends first, and then became decided, oh, there's actually more than that. And we didn't have butterflies before we even got married, you know. So all of those things that we hear, you need to have that attraction, you need to have sparks, is not always the case, right? So we were introduced to something that we went through and got equipped. And then we decided to partner up with that couple, which is Carlos and Chantel Campos, who created a whole course, and they have different mentorships and everything that they would take people through to equip them for marriage. And so we partnered up with them, and that's, you know, what we're doing now as well.
Wow. I just love how you're just being so bold with it. So, because you said a number of things. Okay, so how in the world do you walk people through the process of showing to them that they created what they got in life is exactly what they chose to create, and they didn't know that they were choosing to create it. Because that is I'm just gonna say it, that's a bitch slap moment when you're like, you finally wake up. Because I'm currently there in different areas and going, are you kidding me? I am solely responsible. That's not, how do you do that?
It's a challenge, and we are actually not shy about admitting that we're in a journey of discovering that very thing. We're at on the leading edge, the cutting edge of discovering how to break through that mindset, because we live in a society of victimhood, and victimhood is that of being a victim of circumstances, and therefore, when you do that, you relinquish your power to change that if you can't take responsibility for it. And if it's all up to God, then where's the responsibility? If it's all God's will, then it's also God's fault when it goes down, you know? And so we recognize that we have been given a free will, freedom of choice. We are free moral agents. God has given us the ability to choose. And the degree to which we take responsibility for our choices is the degree to which we have the power to change it. And if we blame it on God, then we make God a scapegoat for our own problems. And then we create that feedback loop that confirms that we have no power to change this. And so therefore marriage becomes the scapegoat. As marriage is the problem, it doesn't work anymore. Well, it's actually not marriage that doesn't work. It's the people that aren't working it. That aren't working.
Love what you guys are saying. I'm going through this myself because I realized the last 2 days that I'm going to use it this way. I need to marry my own life. I'm buying myself a ring for my right finger, my right hand, because I'm coming to a new realization that I alone, other than the part that God plays, whatever that is, everything else, it's all on me. I created my life. And so I need to learn to embrace all of it. You know, my mom dying, the dog getting run over, like embrace it all, because if I resist it, I get messed up emotionally and then I produce more garbage instead of just embracing it all and going, okay, what is this here to show me?
Yeah, that's so good. And, you know, Amos, I love what you said too, is that, you know, embracing it and also see it as also, do you know what you want? A lot of times we can't take responsibility for our lives because we don't know what we want, right? And same with marriage. When people don't know what they want, they don't even have an imagination for what it could look like, because maybe they had an extremely bad example in their lives, in the you know, maybe parents, maybe brothers, sisters, whoever. And so they have a really bad example and the story in their head. So how can we change it? What do we really want? And that will change the course of our present life, right? When we start taking steps to taking responsibility and knowing what we want so we can create it.
When we go there, then okay, a lot of people have had, let's say, challenging, less than desirable circumstances. They're aware they played a part. They don't know to the extent maybe that they did play, but they know they played a part. And it's like if they went to Disneyland 3 times, and every time they went to Disneyland, they threw up on all the rides. How are they supposed to even have the ability to conceive of the possibility that Disneyland might be a wonderful place when they threw up all the times they went? How do they even do that?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. First of all, to create a new reality, you know, requires answering the question of what we want, and then finding people who have that. And asking questions instead of making statements. And ask the why question for the purpose of for learning, being coachable and teachable. And if we are a victim of our circumstances, you know, like for example, puking every time we go to Disneyland rides, if we see that as a static situation that cannot be changed, we also cease looking for options and solutions. You know, instead of avoiding the pain because it can't be changed theoretically, instead ask the question, okay, we have a problem here. How everything that we are confronted with has a solution. And when we ask solution-oriented questions, the psychology of the mind is such that we produce solutions instead of victimhood stuck questions. So it has more to do with the questions we're asking ourselves than it does necessarily what the situation is.
Yeah. And I would say too is, partner up with someone who had a good experience. Like for instance, if someone had an amazing experience on those rides, you can say, hey, how is it you didn't throw up? Every time I go, I throw up. What is it that you do? And they're like, oh, well, I get excited actually. I don't even think about throwing up. I get this, feeling of, whew, it's going to be awesome. And actually, I don't eat anything before I go on the ride.
Or I chew ginger candy.
Or I do, yeah, so they're like, this is what worked for me. Try it. Maybe it's going to work for you too. And so you go with the question is, what is the question? Not, the why sometimes can be like, why is this happening to me? Why am I this? But ask, what can happen? What can work? What can I do to change this experience?
Okay. I want to ask you guys a question about something else you said at the beginning. You said we didn't have butterflies when we met. So the world sold us, and not that butterflies are wrong, or they're just something, and how we filter that. But how do you how do people that come to you and go, I want something more, but the world sold me on this Disneyland, princess, prince thing that is, where do they start when they don't have what they want? Where do you begin them with? What do you begin them with?
That's
Well,
good.
what we have to share on that could be very controversial and trigger a lot of people. But what we first defined was our missions being in alignment. And once your mission is truly in alignment, everything else pretty much lines up with that, because your mission is your overarching convictions, values, and beliefs and pursuits in life. And we found that ours were in alignment, and their
vision as well.
Yeah, and our vision for what we want in life was in alignment. And so we made a rational decision to get married. I was like, I want to marry this woman, so I'm going to pursue her. And so we met once in person to see if we actually feel like,
That could be butterflies.
yeah. And we had a great weekend. The second time we met up at a retreat that was a part of the process we were implementing and learning and growing from. And I proposed to her at the retreat and had a 48-hour engagement and got married there at the retreat. And so we technically only had one in-person meetup before getting married.
Yeah.
And so for us, the butterflies and everything about that didn't actually start until we got to the point of proposal. Up to that point, we were friends without expectations. And so we started in the friend zone, made a rational decision, and then the butterflies and the feelings came because we were applying habits and daily cycles that produce deep connection. And so connection was created. It didn't just happen.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. There is no dating really, but it's intentional. When you find out, first of all, what is your mission and vision for life, then you can find the person that has a similar one.
And I would mention that after having worked with hundreds and probably thousands of singles, one thing that we have discovered is that the tendency towards dating is attached to the likelihood of not having yet defined what you want. Or there's something not defined in our identity, and therefore we don't know what the identity is that we're looking to partner up with. And so in that context, if that has not been defined, our mission and our vision for our life has not been defined, it'll be much more challenging to know what you're looking for in the other person to align with that. And so it all feels very random. And so dating dissolves into this realm of kicking the tires on each other, looking under the hood on each other emotionally, like the world does physically. And then a bond is made, soul ties are made, and attractions are formed. And then 6 months down the road or a year, we're not on the same page on this thing, or God forbid they're already married, and then it gets messy. That's where breakups get messy. Whereas if we define those things on the very first meetup, by having already defined what you're looking for, your life mission, your life vision, and you can define those things by asking specific pointed questions, and discover on the first date whether this is you just made a friend or is this the person you want to marry. And you can avoid the messiness of a breakup by making a rational decision before all the other emotions and attractions and soul ties come into play.
Beautiful. I love that you guys are dealing with this, because this is one that a lot of people steer clear of because it's for obvious reasons. So values, you're talking about a logical decision going, what are you here for? What do you value? What most drives you? So it's like getting right under the hood, not looking at the paint job. You're not looking at the nice rims. You're looking at the running gear and the engine and the drivetrain and going, what is your gearbox designed for? Are you an off-roading vehicle? Are you a speed vehicle? Are you a commuter? Because we can all paint our vehicles to look a certain way and freaking lie into ourselves. Well, I've done that, lie into people to try. Anyway, I just love what you're doing. So what else? Let's keep talking, please. I'll shut up.
So I love this. This is great conversation, and you're just getting it, Amos. And you're getting it. It ties more into 3 C's, we call it. It's a confidence, communication, and commitment.
And those 3 are the 3 elements needed to produce deep connection.
Yeah. So if you don't have confidence, as Jesse mentioned earlier, when you don't know what you want, you don't have a mission clear in your head, you don't know your vision, which is what you want, right? You can't be confident to communicate with another person and then to commit to anything, really, marriage or business or anything that you do. And so when you have those things aligned, it's so easy to commit. And the person who you might have not even paid attention to becomes so attractive to you when your mission and your vision is aligning. So the commitment is just natural. It's comes and you're like, yes, I want that. So you go and you communicate with the person. You made a decision, you made a proposal. You agreed on the proposal and you move forward towards committing for marriage. It's that simple. Now, what we discovered, marriage is not for us, just for us. It's not to be in love. It's not to be this, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. And it's beautiful. Yes, it is for us too. But guess what? The mission on our lives is for other people. And we focus so much on being selfish in choosing our partner just for our eyes.
That would be the equivalent of seeing marriage as a destination instead of the beginning of a journey.
Yeah. So it's really like, the business part of it too, is that a lot of times people spend a long time deciding if this is the right business partner for their business. It's same for marriage, right? It's not even that, but what do you need? You need to know, are they aligned with me on the mission and the vision for business? If yes, okay, let's go forward. You sign a contract and you go for it. It's same for marriage. It's a business contract in the way, because there is a mission that needs to be fulfilled in your life.
And I need somebody to help me fulfill that mission. Marriage can largely be understood, and the seeking of a marriage partner can largely be understood by studying business and business principles, because the principles apply. It's definitely a whole different arena, but the basic principles of logic apply. You're making a lifetime commitment with this person, and it's a partnership, it's an agreement, and it's with a plan. We have the same mission, same vision, and we want to do this together. And this is what we want to create. Define that. What do you want to create? And what do we want to become?
And marriage is created daily, and not even daily, it's moment by moment. And that's what we discovered too, is that, now I'm married to my best friend. And it's a beautiful journey when you have your best friend by your side doing what you love, right?
For the longest time, we didn't feel married.
Yeah.
Because it was different from what we had envisioned as what marriage would be. because we were, for 40 years of our lives, we're looking at marriage from the outside in. And once we were in it, it was different from what it looked like from the outside. It just like felt like being lovers with your best friend. And like, we're just best friends. And that's where it started. It started in the friend zone. So we encourage people to embrace that process. There's like, of course, it should start out as in, oh, we're just friends. We're not dating. Well, that's the way it should be. And once you create that friendship, recognizing that you may well be interacting with somebody else's future spouse, and you proceed with that level of honor and integrity, it never gets messy. You just made a friend. And once you make a decision, like, you know what, I want to marry this person, then you propose. If that's scary to do that, then that just indicates that we haven't defined some things, and there's still some confidence lacking because we haven't defined our own mission. We haven't defined the other person's mission and vision, and likewise. Once those things are defined, we know what we want, we know what we're looking for, and you find that, and it's like, then you have confidence in your communication and confidence in committing because you have defined those things. So lack of commitment or fear of commitment is just a lack of having defined what you want to create, and what you're looking for to create that, or who you're looking for to create that with. And we also I would like to add that you must first become who you want to attract. And that requires a laying down of ego and pride to recognize that if we're attracting bum partners, then we have to do some soul searching and recognize, okay, I'm not all that in a bag of chips. I need to level up somewhere so that I attract the people that I'm looking for. And there's also the how you view yourself, your identity. If somebody has a low view of themselves, they see themselves as a piece of trash, that's what they're going to attract, because they're going to, again, we're getting into the feedback loops, and they're going to act out their mindset and then also attract that. So there's the thing of recognizing that you're worthy of more, but there's some investment required and growth in that process.
Man, I'd like to get you guys on a stage in person. So what does it look like when you work with people? Workshops, groups, one-on-ones? What are you guys doing?
All of the above. We start with virtually online with regular mentorship, and which is based out of providing support, a support network for a course that is evergreen. Like, you just cycle through it over and over because it's derived straight out of God's word. It doesn't grow old. It grows with you because every time you cycle through, you level up. And so you just keep cycling through until you leveled up to a plateau of being able to move forward into what you want. So depending on where somebody is, they may need to cycle through the course more times than the next person. For me, the second time through the course, I was married. The first round got me in contact with Irina. I found her through the process. The second round, I was a married man. And now we are still processing through it and growing now in legacy, and passing it on. But then we also have live retreats, live and in person. So we have, it's multifaceted, and it's a package.
And
One-on-ones.
Yeah.
So it's a package. We're not selling a course. We're not selling retreats. We're not selling mentorship. We're selling a package and a process that will get you from here to here, and then beyond in marriage. It's like, get you married, and then, okay, now let's create legacy. What does that look like?
Yeah. And we don't work with everyone. The person who is lazy and they said, I want this, yes, yes, yes. I want that 90-day guarantee that you're giving, that I'm going to get married in 90 days or engaged in 90 days. But then when it comes to, oh, this is what you need to do, and they say, oh man, I'm so busy. I don't know, like, this is just, can it just like be like this, and you find me a person and you give them to me, and that's what we expect from God too, right? Just give me that person, and it needs to be this and this and this and that. And so we don't work with everyone. We work with those who want the change, who are willing to change, and who's going to do the work. And, it requires work. It requires work in our marriage. The love that we have for each other, that is honeymoon love that people say that we have, amazing, but we work on it every single day, right? So it takes work to get to the finding that person, to proposing, to having the wedding, and then you have the rest of your life to work on your marriage too. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop there.
Yeah, if some common objections we get from people to move forward is they're not ready yet to get married. And our response is, of course not, or you would be. That's what we're here for. We're here to meet you where you are and get you ready. And once you're ready, you almost can't get married fast enough because you have the confidence, you have the communication, and you have the commitment, and you're ready to move forward. If somebody's not ready to move forward, then we need to work on the 3 C's. And once those things are in balance and growing together, they will a switch will flip that they will be ready.
Mhm.
So that's where we start. We meet a person where they are and get them to where they want to go. But we help them define it. We don't do it for them. We do it with them, and we lead by example. We do the very process that we teach. And so we say that the people that we're looking for are the ones that are humble, coachable, and teachable, and asking more questions than making statements.
And those who said, help.
Yeah, this is going to trigger some people, but we welcome triggering in this group because how else are we going to grow unless we get triggered? Triggering is just a big spotlight coming on our limiting mindsets and beliefs going, hello, don't project. It's you, it's not them. So I want to ask you, how do you guys overcome the objection? Because you guys are obviously faith-based, religious, God. How do you make it desirable for those that, Disneyland, they've been to church, they've been to Disneyland, they threw up every time they went there. So how do you work the principles and system into people that are like, I don't want to go anything to do with God because I had a bad experience, just like people had a bad experience with marriage or relationships. How do you overcome that?
Again, we don't identify as a faith-based organization, although we are unapologetic about it on a personal level. And so we absolutely have worked with people that didn't know what they believe or why, but we help them define that and explore that to the degree to which they're ready. But there is no pressure or expectation put upon them because the principles that we apply will work regardless. And there's also the element of, whenever there's growth, whenever somebody's hungry, coachable, teachable, they will grow and they get to define that and create that. And we've not had any problems with people that are so-called, don't believe in the Bible or, aren't sure where they are in their faith. We'll talk about it, but we won't put that expectation on them.
Yeah.
We focus on meeting them where they are and without judgment or expectation. But we will definitely talk about God, and to the degree to which they ask questions is the degree to which we'll go there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honoring their perspective and their free will. That's I believe in God, and I believe God honors all my free will. So I'm supposed to honor everyone else's free will too. That's my belief system. So
Yeah.
how can people get a hold of you? People are gonna be curious and want to reach out. And I gotta ask, did you guys say you have a 90-day, were you joking? Guarantee that you'll be
We have a
married in
90-day guarantee of engagement or marriage, or we refund 100% of their investment. There are qualifications for that. If they have to have demonstrated complete and total follow through in everything we ask them to do, and if they meet the criteria of having followed directions and fulfilled our requirements, and they did not get the results that they invested into, we do offer 100% refund.
And, it's interesting because, Jesse, what was that for you? 80 something days? 80...
I was married within 88 days.
88 days. We have people who are even under that, and these principles work if you work them. And it's not a shock. Every single person that we married or got married since this was created, they have beautiful, happy marriages because they're applying the principles. Even though it was a fast in so many people's eyes, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be married that fast.
And for those, I would say we have one client that we're currently working with that has been with us for 2 years, and he's only now getting engaged. And again, that's evidence of us meeting a person where they are. We help them define what they want and when do they want it, and then we start the journey.
Mhm.
And for some, it's going to be longer than others. So again, if somebody doesn't want 90 days, great. Okay, when do you want it? And then let's circle that date.
Mhm.
You know, the 90-day guarantee is basically to put teeth to our commitment and our confidence that this process works.
Wow. There's going to be people that are interested in this just for the sake of what you're saying. Well, I want to throw this and say, the principles you're talking about, they work. Have you ever heard of someone that says, you know, we have this knee-jerk reaction because of fear, probably, but like, who doesn't want their business to take off in 90 days? Who doesn't, you know? We're all about that. We're all about, oh, I want my business to be exploding in 90 days. But when it comes to that, it's because there's fear and unknown in past history. That's fantastic. You guys do. That's just so inspiring.
It's just like going to school for anything else you want a degree in. A person who wants to be a doctor, for example, if you throw a person who is aspiring to be a doctor into a hospital and say, okay, and I'll be a doctor, they're going to have no confidence because they haven't had the training. They don't have the skills. They haven't exercised the repetition of doing things over and over. They don't know what they don't know. And so it would be rational for that person to say, I'm not ready to be a doctor.
Mhm.
I'm not ready to be a doctor yet. Well, that's what we hear when somebody says, I'm not ready to be married yet. Yeah, we need to go to school. We need to learn some things and break some old mindsets and start new different habits and get you to that point. And once you get your degree, you'll be ready. That's the point of school. And that's the point of coaching, mentoring, teaching, discipling, and all that, is to get a person where they are ready. You know, it's a journey. It's not, we don't just suddenly arrive at a state of readiness for marriage. I was waiting on that until I was 40 years old, and I still didn't feel ready until I actually put my money where my mouth is and invested into a mentor that said, I'll get you married if you listen and follow directions and do what I say. And I was like, done, let's do it.
That's no different than a business owner. Like, there's people in this group that are selling results. They're selling a result, and they're saying, if you freaking commit in X number of months, so what you're doing is the very same thing as they're doing. People do it with the bodies, they do it with business, they do it with your email marketing or with your videography. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So how do we define who we want to work with? We do an interview process of about 45 minutes to a 1 hour call where we take them through some questions and we interview them. And we qualify who we want to work with because we have limited amounts of spots that we open every so often. And so we don't work with everyone. Sometimes we do disqualify people. The first disqualifier is excuses. If somebody makes excuses, that's our first clue that they're probably not going to be a good fit for us. And
or but, you know, saying, but I want to do this, but, so excuses. Yeah. And so we do have, we'll share a contact with you maybe on the comments. Would that be better to share there in the comments?
Let's drop any links in the comments section. As you're talking about, all I'm seeing is this visual of this baby. What are your 3 C's?
It's the confidence, communication, and commitment.
So when we're born, when babies cry out, they're confident their needs going to be met. And then then they cry out, the communication, and then the commitment, and they latch onto that nipple. Like we're born doing those 3 innately, but we got messed up by the world.
Yes.
Because I think humans are we are that. We are confident. We do communicate and we commit, but it's like we get screwed up with whatever traumas. And then it's this coming back to.
Yeah. And that's actually one other thing that we address is that the triggers obviously is going to come up where you create an agreement with something, right? And
agreements are usually made as a form of protection from a certain scenario repeating itself. And where agreements are made to protect ourselves or self-protect, there the progress and the growth often stops. And then every time that thing is poked in the future, it produces a childlike response that is reminiscent of the age at which that trauma occurred and the agreement was made.
We give away a lot of free content where they can take it and run with it. If they're not a fit for us to work with them in the, more of one-on-one and group settings, we invite them to the free group where we provide a lot of things for free. Also join our group, see what we do in action there, and then get on the call with us to see if this is a good fit.
And we also have a YouTube channel, which people can, of course, subscribe to if they want weekly bites of what we have shared on this interview, where we share some of the latest stuff that we ourselves are experiencing, walking through and growing in. And literally, we're sharing our life journey in the process and then just passing it on.
Please drop all links in the comments. I'll tag you guys in this after. And
Okay.
yes, a world needs what you guys are teaching. That is, I would hardly say that. So thank you for being here. Jesse and is it Irina? Jesse, I thought you called her something else.
It's Irina.
Oh, Irina. Okay,
Yes.
Irina. Awesome. Well, thank you
got
for
it.
being here. This has been a real joy to have people have the balls to come on here and actually not apologize for this. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. We're grateful to be here, Amos. Thank you for having us. And we are willing to step on the rooftop and scream about our mission and what we have to offer.
Thank you for today. If you've been watching, listening to Empower Network TV, Jesse and Irina Kaufman, please link up with them and click on their links and join their Facebook group and check out the webinar. And if this resonates with you, they're here and willing to help. So thank you both
Yes.
for being here.
Thank you. Blessings.
Okay, bless you.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Bye-bye.